This is the video that we have all been waiting for. We have 6 months worth of waiting into this video. Go get a drink, go get your popcorn, sit back, relax, and enjoy today's vlog. So if you guys have been watching the videos for a while, you will remember Danny. Danny has tuned all my JZs, and today I have him doing some RB homework for us. When's the last time you tuned in RB?
Last month.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Actually, last week.
Last week?
Yeah.
Okay, so often. Kind of.
Not really.
So when it blows up, you know, look at it, dude. So I have Danny here, and I also have Ryan here. As you can see, they're having a complete battle off right now with the laptops. Just making sure numbers look right. When you were gonna start a car for the first time, because that's essentially our goal today, are you just checking sensors and making sure that everything is active and you can read everything?
Correct. So I want to make sure map sensors reading, throttles reading, coolant, air temp, all the sensors that you have in here, I got to make sure that they're reading the way they're supposed to while the car's off and cold and everything like that. And then also we're checking to make sure that the harness, everything is working with it. Because if it's not, then we're not going to get anywhere.
How did that harness check out?
It looks like it's pretty good, man. Yeah.
You guys remember Ryan? We have his harness in here and everything looking pretty spicy.
Then we're gonna start it.
Are you nervous?
I just want to hear it.
Everyone in the comments, and I've seen it, like, oh yeah, TJ built this RB26 Mustang. I'm like, I didn't build Dan built the whole thing. If anything, this is your baby right now as much as it is my baby. You and Mark are literally.
Yeah,
you gotta make sure Mark gets his credit. Mark's done a lot of work on this car too, but I'm a little nervous. I'm always nervous.
We're all nervous, but first fire up and dynos, I'm gonna be nervous at first fire up every time and dyno every time.
Yeah, so to be clear, we're not dynoing today. Today's the first startup, and I'll address these like horrific wheels that are on the car in just a second. But the car is going to be turning on today. So we're obviously not going to be ripping it. We're essentially going to load a base map, which is something that just the car can run on. And if you had to drive it, you could, but this isn't going to be, you know, tuning 20 pounds of boost type of ripping it. That we need the dyno for, which will be a later video, which we will be ready for very soon. But today is, in my opinion, one of the most exciting days, one of the most nervous days. You know, dyno is actually very scary too, because that's where stuff can actually go wrong. But one of the things that I want to address too before it actually starts is we don't have an exhaust on the car. So we have a downpipe on the back of the turbo, but we are actually going to be doing a custom exhaust with MagnaFlow, which they said the moment it fires up, bring it over and we will make an exhaust at the back, because we want to utilize the factory bumper exhaust outlets, which I didn't want to have Mark or Dan waste their time fabricating an exhaust when MagnaFlow could just do some computer 3D scan and just make it. So we are essentially just downpipe dump. This is a true definition of a straight pipe, except the exhaust isn't dumping out the back, it's just dumping to the floor. So it might sound, I don't know how it's gonna sound.
Sound like a boat, maybe?
It might sound like a boat, it might sound, I don't know.
It might just sound like a Garrett turbo chopping up there.
Yeah, these Garrett turbos have such an intense like turbo whistle, and just even at idle. So I don't know. I'm excited. I don't know what it's gonna sound like. I've kind of talked to a few people like, what do you think it's gonna sound like? Do you think it's gonna sound weird? Do you think it's gonna have that RB idle off the bat? I don't quite know. The way the exhaust is dumped right now, it might sound kind of funky. But I've been told from Danny that they're waiting on me. So right now I'm stalling the video right now to start it, because I'm a little bit nervous. So I think this is me trying to get a cue from Danny.
We are just about there. We're good.
I want to take a quick pause on today's video to tell you guys about the best game in the world, Warhammer 40,000 Lost Crusade, and say thank you for them for sponsoring today's video. Warhammer 40,000 Lost Crusade is a licensed MMO strategy game for your mobile device. It features all your favorite hero types from Warhammer 40,000 franchise. You're a fleet commander fighting against a war against the Imperium, and it's up to you to save the world. Strategy games are one of my favorite games out there, and I also love alien aliens, outer space, sci-fi genre, which makes this game a slam dunk for me. The action, the killer graphics, and battles are what make this one of my favorite games to play when I have a little downtime between wrenching on cars or hanging out at home. Inside the game, you'll be exploring the whole Lost Crusade universe by battling with heroes and making new friends from all across the globe. Choose one of 4 all-new Space Marines chapters with each different buffs, base designs, and chapter skill. You guys can click the link down below in my bio to download the game, and if you guys use my game code TJHXLC, you'll be given $10 of in-game rewards right off the bat to get you started. So if you're looking for a new game for your phone or something just casual to play, be sure to download Warhammer 40,000 Lost Crusade. You can socialize, join clans, create clans, and meet people from all over the world. Download the game using the links provided in the description, and let's get back to today's video.
So I'm going to crank it, no fuel, and then you're gonna let me know where you see the marks.
Still not.
We're gonna see, because there's 2 different ones of these. We're
Oh,
all
we
saying
might have to
that
switch a wire?
Yeah, that the cam and the crank sensor can be flipped around depending on what year that specifically is. I'm gonna check for ground. I'm gonna check for power just to verify those because the clip will be off. And then we're gonna verify cam and crank. We might even just flip them. It's probably the easiest just to flip them. And then if it works, when you flip it, then it works, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
$290, I think, or $280 or $90.
I'm so lost
Okay,
right now.
so-
Am I the
okay,
only
that's
one who has
revolution.
no idea what the fuck
That's
you're talking
doing
about?
So many revolutions before it's gonna fire, and so like some motors will be out of 360 degrees, and some will be out of 720, which is like double. Like, and it's the firing order. So I think it's Jay-Z's out of 720, right?
They're all 720.
Oh,
They're a
this-
4-stroke,
okay,
yeah.
and like,
So what they're looking at is when the spark plug is getting told to fire.
Right.
But that has to happen at a specific time in the compression
Right.
stroke, right?
Yeah.
So if we don't fire that in the right time, then you're never going to get the engine started.
Right.
So what I'm trying to do is find 0 every time the light flashes, because that means that at 0 we're in compression stroke, and that
Oh.
means that the spark plug fired at the right time.
Okay.
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 That's what we're trying to figure out.
That's what we're trying to figure out.
sometimes yeah, your number will be like really close to 720.
But
where
you're
you
on
start.
But you.
Sometimes it'll be like closer to 0.
That makes more sense when Danny explained it. Sorry, Dan.
He's trying to dumb it down.
It helped. It helped a lot.
Let me know what this says.
It's 60.
60?
Yeah. I just want to like see it at least twice before I tell you a number. Some
This water pump has like spray.
yeah. That's like 3 degrees maybe now. You're in between 10 and TDC, but it's
I went the right way?
yeah.
We're good now.
Okay.
Yeah, you can put that all back together now.
Oh, we're that close, and it could probably fire like
actually, we actually leave it hooked up, because once it fires up,
We'll do like a little check, like yeah.
Everything's clear.
Get the phones out.
Alright, here we go. It still sounds like an RV even when that's done.
But it's like a
It's like a tractor RV.
like a Thailand bug where
Dude, that's so sick. It's so weird just like looking at this car right now and hearing that from this.
Making sure there's no leaks, fuel, oil, since there's now a lot of pressure, making sure everything that's hot isn't gonna burn anything around there. So just kind of do an inspection.
Wait, so the GPS doesn't need to be adjusted?
Why? I already did it.
Oh, and it's like the idle set screw is good?
Dude, right now, I didn't know.
What the heck?
Yeah, it's like perfect.
That was luck. That doesn't always happen.
As I mentioned earlier, we have a really strange wheel setup on this car right now. Currently, we have a set of Marks 370Z wheels, but our issue is we have a huge brake setup on this car. And these brakes are so big that you try and get any wheel from any Mustang part store or Mustang distributor, they don't make wheels that fit brakes this big. You need at least a 17-inch wheel to get over this, and when you put a 17, it like barely fits. We are struggling to find wheels that we can throw on this car because H3 is pretty backed up right now, and we can't get a wheel solution made by them anytime soon. So we're trying to do some eye measurements and trying to figure out what type of wheels and offsets we need to throw on this car. So that's essentially what we're trying to figure out right now. Danny is now going through the car and he's just checking different things and adding stuff to the base map so that when this car is ready to drive on a base map that it doesn't die. He's also going to be revving it and kind of just... That's so cool. You don't have a license for this.
You don't need one to smoke it.
Later. Whoa, wait, whoa. Jill's are good.
GTA, that's what they call them.
Let's do it.
That's a pretty nasty race bike, isn't it?
Whose is that?
It's my race bike.
It's yours. It's literally for the trailer.
Oh, it's for the trailer. Okay. So today's progress went really, really well. There were a few things on the car that need to be addressed that I think we have. One of our oil relocation lines is leaking a little bit. One of the welds on the coolant pipes had a little bit of a hole in it, so that needs to get tacked up. So because of those things, we could rush and get it done tonight, but there's no need in rushing this thing. We've already come this far. We can wait a few more days. So we're actually gonna come back later this week, pick this car up, bring it home. I really want to show you guys how cool the interior is. But one of the things I asked Ryan, I was like, modernize this car on the inside so like it, you know, it just works. So I'm gonna have Ryan go with us, and I want to show you guys how to use it.
All right.
Okay, so don't mind that this tack isn't in right now. That's gonna be thrown in at a later date.
I rigged it up so you can turn the key. Essentially acts like a normal car. Display comes on, you hear the fuel pump prime.
Display comes on ignition, which is really cool. On my race car,
yeah,
that doesn't come on until you click it, until you click ignition on your pad.
Sure.
So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, so what happened here is like this being ignition with a key, I pretty much changed it to being here instead of being on the keypad. And I think that's really cool because like then it's like a normal car feel and you have a key.
It's as if you had like accessory mode, like you were clicking your car into accessory, and then when you do that, all like, you know, your dash lights up, and so that, like, I don't know why, but it's just simple things. Like that to me is like, damn, that's really rad. Like that's super cool.
Yep. And then you pretty much don't need the ignition button at that point because we have the key, but I want to leave it there just in case we ever went straight to the keypad, okay? Then you have your starter button, and literally when you hit that momentarily, it will bump the starter, okay? So I did that real quick just so it wouldn't start or anything, but yeah, that's the starter bump. You momentarily...
So you hold it, or you momentarily touch it?
You literally, like, you momentarily hold it in until the engine runs and you let it go.
Yeah, so just like my race car.
Exactly.
Ignition, hold till it starts.
Correct. And then you have two fuel pump ones right here. You have your main and you have your lift. Those basically don't have to get pressed. Like you don't have to do anything with that. But they're nice to have because one, when they're green and they're running, they'll actually alert you that the pumps are working, and those 2 pumps are, there's no failures, they're running cool, everything is within parameters, and they're on. If they go orange, then you know that it had like a failure warning, almost like a fuse reset, and then it corrected itself, okay? If they go red, you know that output's off. It tried like 3 times to save itself and it just shut the output off, okay? Same thing goes with a fan. That fan will be illuminated green, and then if there's a failure, 1 attempt, it'll be orange, and then 3 failures, it'll be red. And you can also just turn on the fan. So if you guys hear that, the fan's running. So that's like our override switch. So basically you don't have to do anything with the fan. The ECU will turn it on. It will control it when the temperature is right. Danny like did all that and we don't have to touch it. But if you want to force it on, you can always press it.
Which is always great to have. Just
Correct.
to know, manual override, for whatever reason, if the ECU doesn't pick it up, you can just chuck it on.
Correct. And then we have our brake light switch here, you know, that one's easy. And then we have some lights. So let's do high beam lights and low beam lights.
I think you can actually see that. Turn them all off right now. Yep.
Yeah.
So you got your normal lights, then you got your high beams, which I think is so cool.
Yeah, so you have high beams, you have low beams, and the tail lights are connected to the low beams, right? So you turn those off. And then you have indicators. So you have a right indicator, and see how when that output is on, you see it flashing.
Yeah.
So that's basically telling you exactly what's going on. Like just when you turn on that high beam, it's green.
on.
It's
It
on.
holds itself
you know,
on.
You know what it's doing.
I really want to get a badge made that says GT RB26. So if anyone out there can help me make that badge, let me know because I'm looking for it. That is going to do it for today's video. So much went on in one day, but we're going to be taking this thing home later this week. Fingers crossed, as long as we can get this wheels figured out, which I think we did, we'll be taking this thing home. You guys didn't all need to stop talking, right, as I stopped talking.
Oh, hey guys, how's it going?
I'm really happy with the results today. Just the fact that we got the thing running, and Danny said it was running really, really well before he even put his base map in. So that's all good signs before we can start ramping this thing up, turn the boost up, go to the dyno, which will all come very, very soon. But I know you guys are really, really curious as to what this new car is. So I thought I would go ahead and finally tell you. The new car that I got was